A very good morning, thanks for clicking on to the Wednesday edition of Vogan's US Outlook. We've got a storm on both the west and the east coast at the moment. This is the fourth nor'easter in 3 weeks and I believe the fifth in about 5 weeks. We are certainly seeing an incredible active pattern for the eastern and northeastern half of the country in particular, with just one hit after the other. And this is all indicative of a negative NAO, easterly QBO, MJO in phase 7, and a lot of energy. Of course, at this time of the year, you've got the warmth and moisture coming northwards, while you've still got a lot of cold winter weather across the north, and of course, storms like to wind up with those contrasts in temperature. But you can see here as we go through the remainder of today, we're got the energy kind of hanging back. Do you notice here that kind of with this frame in particular that you've got the system here off the southern end of the Delmarva Peninsula. We've got the snow hanging back over western parts of Maryland, southern Pennsylvania, but then you notice here how the system kind of catches up now. We've got that system starting to develop here and it's starting to deepen, as you can see here. Heaviest snowfall all the way back in the western parts of Virginia, West Virginia, but then in the next frame 6 hours later that moisture gets pulled into the system and then things start to wrap up. We go from 992 millibars down to 990 and then down to 988 millibars, so the system really deepens just off the Cape May area of New Jersey. And folks, this is going to be a heavy snowmaker for cities such as Philadelphia, up into New York City. This is quite likely to be the biggest snowfall of the season so far. And then once the system kind of starts to lift up the eastern portion of New England, then in comes colder on the backside, and then of course you cast your eyes to the west and a lot of wet weather to come. Atmospheric river setup in place, not just southern and central California but all the way up to British Columbia. You can see here a lot of moisture getting driven in here all the way from the central Pacific here, so a lot of action going on. And of course, let's not forget the severe weather that we've seen, really quite devastating tornadoes. Fortunately, we're now at that time of the year now, and that is something that we need to start, of course, looking more and more towards as we go from March into April. I think it could be quite a big season this year for severe weather, given the fact that we've got warm Gulf, warm water, and of course colder to the north here. That fight in between tends to lead to quite an active severe weather season to start off with. Of course, when you've got a heck of a lot of warmth around, like we've seen in March 2012 with record breaking heat all the way up into southern Canada, you don't tend to get as much in the way of severe weather. You need that clash, and of course back in cold Marches and Aprils, likewise you don't get that. But when you've got that collision, that contrast in temperature, and of course a warm Gulf of Mexico, that tends to be fuel for a big severe weather season. But we get that cold air driven down in the backside of that system. We've got a straight northerly wind. If there's snow in the ground, we could be talking about record low temperatures. And of course we are seeing the next system that initially now today hitting the western half of the country with wind, rain and snow. That will be over to the east of the Rockies, and we're going to be seeing flood and rainfall, severe weather potential with this as well through the weekend. Heavy snow in the northern side of that system, and then of course all the while we've got a next system coming into the west of the country as well. So a very active, very busy weather pattern remains over the eastern half of the United States and indeed the entire country. So keep it right here on YouTube and markvoganweather.com, and I'll keep you posted as best I can. Hope you have a great Wednesday afternoon. Bye bye.